Product universe here. President Trump humiliates a liberal reporter for asking a dumb question during the cabinet meeting press conference. This is must see.
And next steps for China, sir?
Well, we'll see what happens with China. We would love to be able to work a deal. They've really taken advantage of our country for a long period of time. They've ripped us off beyond nobody. How people stood for it, sitting in my position, is not even believable. And we're talking about many presidents, not just a couple. But they did, and all we're doing is putting it back in shape. We're resetting the table. And I'm sure that we'll be able to get along very well. I have great respect for President Xi. He's been, in a true sense, he's been a friend of mine for a long period of time. And I think that we'll end up working out something that's very good for both countries. I look forward to it.
Mr. President, China retaliated today by reducing the number of American films that can be shown there. What's your reaction to them now targeting cultural exports from the United States?
I think I've heard of worse things.
How close are you to the first country coming to actually make a deal with the United States over tariffs? Is it days, months, weeks?
Well, I think it's very close. But, we have to have a deal that we like. We don't want a deal that's going to be a bad deal, or I could make every deal in one day if I wanted to. I could do this in one day. I could just say, here's what we'll do. And I was saying to the people before, to Scott, mostly to Scott and Howard, and some of the other people that work with us on the negotiations. We have a lot of law firms that have paid me a lot of money in the form of legal fees. We're going to probably use those firms to, if we can, I think we can. I'll make a contribution to the country, but they're great firms. They're the best firms, the biggest, and really the most prestigious. And we may be using them to help you guys out, because you're going to need a lot of lawyers. And I'm not sure Pam's going to be happy if I say, can you send over about 200 lawyers that work on trade? She's working on criminal stuff, and I think that's going to be her focus more than anything else. So we'll find out if we can do that. But we have a lot of lawyers that you've been reading about where they paid $100 million a firm on average. Now we have the final 4 or 5 are at $125 million. So I have a lot of legal fees I could give to you people, and we might as well use them. Hopefully I won't need that many legal fees or that much. I may. Who knows? After it ends, after we leave, maybe I'll need it. But if I do, it's not going to be very pleasant. So I think we're going to try to use these very prestigious firms to help us out with the trade, because we have a lot of countries. But we want to make deals that are proper for the United States, not just we can make deals easily. We want to make them proper.
Mr. President, if you aren't able to reach the deals that you want to see at the end of the 90 days, will you put those higher tariffs in place, or will you extend?
Well, that's what would happen. I mean, if we can't make the deal that we want to make, or we have to make, or that's good for both parties, it's got to be good for both parties.
You wouldn't.
And then we'd go back to where we were.
You'd go back to the numbers that you announced last week.
I think so.
You wouldn't extend the pause?
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens at that time.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said yesterday you were considering some exceptions for companies. Can you talk about what you're considering? And then also on the reciprocal tariffs, you said they'd be substantially lower. Is the same math formula going to be used, or is that tossed out?
I'm not considering now for any country or company, but it's possible that I would. But I'm not. We don't have that situation right now. People understand where we are, what we're going to do. But it could happen. It's called flexibility. You have to have certain flexibility.
What are you planning on using the money that you're gaining from revenue through the tariffs on?
Paying down national debt, reducing taxes, creating good budgets, helping Christie with the border and all of the other things. I built hundreds of miles of wall, as people now understand, 571 miles of border wall in the first administration. But we're going to beef it up, and we're going to add more.
That was totally hilarious. The reporter in the green dress asked what she thought was a very serious question, a question she thought was going to get President Trump in a bind. but President Trump's answer totally shocked and humiliated her, as it was a very trivial question. A very trivial question about China blocking cultural exports from America, where President Trump responded and said that he's heard much worse things in his life, effectively dismantling her question in a few words and laughs, in turn making the reporter question why she even asked that trivial question instead of an important question. Who cares that China won't be watching our movies anymore? They already don't watch many of our movies, as they have strict censorship policies which censor our movies. As there is no freedom of speech in China, it is a country with an authoritarian regime. In America, we shouldn't cater our movies to anyone except for Americans. We shouldn't change our policies and movies to appease communist dictators in China to make more money. President Trump is totally right about this being a non-issue, because American movies will do just fine in America, and that this trivial question was a misuse of a question to the President of the United States during an important cabinet meeting, as well for all the other questions he was asked, mostly on the economy and tariffs. I gotta say, it is refreshing to have a president who knows what he is talking about. A president that, if you listen to him, is totally coherent and you can actually learn something from. A president who is not afraid to be asked questions by reporters. A president who actually loves squaring off with reporters each and every single day. He truly loves it, unlike Joe Biden, where you never knew what was going to come out of his mouth and what he was going to do. A president who was concealed from the American people for 4 long years because he was not fit for the job. It is remarkable to see the difference in the recent Trump administration compared to the Biden administration. The Trump administration is so much more transparent, while the Biden administration was so secretive. It is so awesome to have President Trump back in office delivering the America First agenda and destroying the fake news reporters every single day for asking stupid and pointless questions. This deserves to be shared because President Trump's dismantling of this reporter's trivial question in a few words is truly something to see. Something to see as he humiliated her with his brilliant response. But that's just my 2 cents, and you are entitled to your 2 cents. If you want, share your opinion in the comments below, as all viewpoints are welcome. If you enjoyed this informational and educational video, then give the video a like and turn on my channel notifications so that you'll be notified the next time I release a new video. Thanks for watching, God bless you, and God bless America.